Shut up. Officer Bradley's voice cracked with adrenaline. The handcuffs bit into Marcus's wrists like metal teeth. Around them, red and blue lights painted the suburban street in angry colors. Neighbors pressed against their windows, phones out, recording everything. Stop resisting. The words slammed into Marcus Williams like a sledgehammer as his face pressed against the cold concrete, gravel cutting into his cheek. The knee on his back felt like it could crack his ribs. His expensive suit, the one he'd worn to accept the most important job of his life just hours ago, was now torn and dirty. "I'm not resisting," he gasped, tasting blood in his mouth. "Please, I can explain." Marcus's chest burned as he struggled to breathe under the officer's weight. The briefcase he'd been carrying, filled with classified FBI documents about his new position, lay scattered across the sidewalk. Top-secret papers danced in the evening wind like confetti at the world's worst party. The smell of hot asphalt mixed with his own sweat and fear. His heart hammered so hard he thought it might explode. This couldn't be happening. Not tonight. Not after everything. "What's your name?" Officer Martinez demanded, yanking Marcus's head up by his hair. "Marcus Williams," he wheezed. "I'm the new." "Don't lie to us." Bradley pressed his knee deeper. "We know who you are. You're the suspect who's been breaking into houses in this neighborhood." Marcus's mind reeled. Suspect? Breaking into houses. He lived here. This was his street. His house was literally 50 yards away. The pain in his back exploded as another officer joined in, pressing his boot against Marcus's shoulder. 3 cops now. All white. All angry. All convinced they'd caught their man. "Please," Marcus whispered, his voice cracking. "Call Agent Sarah Chun at FBI headquarters. She'll tell you who I am. I was just sworn in this morning as FBI." Officer Bradley laughed, a harsh sound that cut through the night air. "You think we're stupid? What kind of FBI agent breaks into his neighbor's garage?" "Garage?" Marcus's eyes went wide. Mrs. Henderson's garage door had been stuck when he'd helped her with groceries earlier. He'd used his shoulder to unstick it, just being a good neighbor. Someone must have seen and... "I was helping Mrs. Henderson," he gasped. "Call her. She'll tell you." But Mrs. Henderson was 93 and probably asleep with her hearing aid out. The officers exchanged looks over his body. Something passed between them. A silent conversation that made Marcus's blood run cold. "Yeah, right," Martinez said. "That's what they all say." Marcus felt something shift in the air. The casual brutality was turning into something darker. Something planned. He could hear it in their voices, see it in the way they moved. This wasn't just a case of mistaken identity anymore. This was about to become something much worse. The handcuffs cut deeper as they yanked him to his feet. Blood from his split lip dripped onto his white shirt, the same shirt he'd worn when FBI Director Patricia Hawkins had shaken his hand and said, "Congratulations, Director Williams. The Bureau is lucky to have you." Now he was bleeding in front of his own house, and nobody believed who he was. "Book him," Bradley said to Martinez. "Breaking and entering. Resisting arrest. Let's see what else we can add." As they shoved him toward the police car, Marcus caught a glimpse of his reflection in the window. His face was swollen, his eye already turning purple. He looked like every mugshot he'd seen in his 22 years of law enforcement. The irony wasn't lost on him. Tomorrow morning, he was supposed to walk into FBI headquarters as the new director. Instead, he'd be in a jail cell trying to convince anyone, that he wasn't a criminal. The car door slammed shut, trapping him in a cage that smelled like vomit and desperation. Through the metal mesh, he watched Officer Bradley pick up his scattered FBI documents. The man glanced at the official seals, the classified stamps, the letterhead that clearly identified Marcus as the newly appointed FBI director. Bradley looked right at Marcus through the car window. Then he crumpled the papers and threw them in a trash can. Marcus's stomach dropped into his shoes. They knew exactly who he was. This wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. 6 hours earlier, Marcus had been standing in the FBI director's office, sunlight streaming through bulletproof windows, as Director Hawkins handed him the official appointment letter. His wife Sarah had tears in her eyes. His kids, David, 16, and Maya, 14, stood proud in their best clothes. "Dad's going to be in charge of the whole FBI," Maya had whispered to her brother, her voice full of awe. Marcus remembered the weight of the moment, the weight of history. At 48, he was about to become the first black FBI director in the Bureau's history. 22 years of service, starting as a field agent in Chicago, working his way up through organized crime, counterterrorism, and finally to deputy director. He'd earned this. Every sleepless night, every dangerous case, every time he'd proven himself twice as good as his white colleagues just to be seen as equal. It had all led to this moment. "The transition ceremony is scheduled for Monday," Director Hawkins had said. "But I wanted to give you your briefing materials early. Take the weekend to review them. Monday morning, the Bureau is yours." She'd handed him the briefcase, the same one now lying open in the street outside his house, its contents blowing away like garbage. The drive home had been perfect. Sarah in the passenger seat, holding his hand. The kids in the back, already making plans about visiting Dad's new office. They'd stopped for ice cream to celebrate. Maya had ordered 3 scoops and declared it FBI director's daughter privileges. Life had been perfect 6 hours ago. Now Marcus sat in the back of a police car, handcuffed and bleeding, watching his future dissolve in the night air. The radio crackled to life. "Unit 47, what's your status on the B&E suspect?" "We got him." Bradley's voice came through clear and satisfied. "Marcus Williams, 48, black male. Caught him red-handed trying to break into a garage on Maple Street." "Copy that. Bring him in for processing." Marcus closed his eyes. Tomorrow's headlines flashed through his mind. Newly appointed FBI director arrested for breaking and entering. FBI leadership in crisis after director's criminal charges. First black FBI director fired before taking office. His career was over. His reputation destroyed. His children would see their father on the news, not as a hero, but as a criminal. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a terrible thought began to grow. What if this wasn't random? What if someone had orchestrated this? What if there were people who would do anything, even destroy an innocent man, to keep him from taking power? The police car pulled away from his house, taking him toward a future he'd never imagined. In the rearview mirror, he could see his home getting smaller and smaller. His wife's car wasn't in the driveway yet. She and the kids were probably still at dinner celebrating. They had no idea that their perfect day was about to become their worst nightmare. Backhand index pointing right. If you were in this moment, what would you do? Would you stay quiet and wait for a lawyer, demand to call the FBI? Or try to make the officers understand who you really are? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss stories this wild. Now, let's get back to what happened next. As the jail loomed ahead, Marcus realized that surviving the next few hours would require every skill he'd learned in 22 years of law enforcement. But this time, he was on the wrong side of the badge. And the people with the power to destroy him were just getting started. Strip. The word hit Marcus like a slap as he stood in the intake room of the county jail. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. Officer Bradley stood with his arms crossed, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "I said strip. Everything off." Marcus's hands shook as he loosened his tie, the silk tie his wife had given him for his promotion. "This is unnecessary. I've cooperated with everything. Now." Bradley's shout echoed off the concrete walls. The humiliation burned in Marcus's chest as he undressed in front of 3 officers who watched him like he was an animal in a zoo. His expensive suit, his dress shoes, his watch. Everything that marked him as successful, as respectable, as someone who mattered, gone. They handed him an orange jumpsuit that reeked of industrial detergent and other men's fear. "Sit down," Martinez ordered, pointing to a metal chair bolted to the floor. As Marcus sat, Bradley leaned close enough that Marcus could smell coffee and cigarettes on his breath. "So, Director Williams," he said, making air quotes with his fingers, "tell us about these FBI documents we found." Marcus's heart jumped. "Then you know who I am. You know this is all a mistake. What I know, Bradley said, is that we found a man with fake government documents trying to break into someone's garage. Identity theft is a federal crime, you know. They're not fake. Marcus kept his voice steady, drawing on years of interrogation experience. Call FBI headquarters. Ask for Deputy Director Chin. She'll verify my identity in 30 seconds. At midnight, Martinez laughed. Sorry, government offices are closed. It wasn't midnight. It was barely 9 p.m. But Marcus realized that facts didn't matter here. This wasn't about justice or procedure. This was something else entirely. I want to make my phone call, he said. Sure thing. Bradley tossed an ancient payphone receiver onto the table. The cord was cut. The three officers burst into laughter like this was the funniest joke they'd ever heard. Marcus stared at the broken phone, feeling something crack inside his chest. Not just his ribs from earlier, something deeper. His faith in the system. His belief that the badge meant something. His certainty that being innocent would be enough. Having technical difficulties? Bradley asked, wiping fake tears from his eyes. This is illegal, Marcus said quietly. I have constitutional rights to. Rights? Officer Johnson, the third cop, spoke for the first time. He was younger than the others, maybe 25, with dead eyes that made Marcus's skin crawl. You lost your rights when you decided to be a criminal. They left him alone in the interrogation room then, handcuffed to the table. The clock on the wall ticked so loudly it sounded like gunshots. Marcus tried to think, tried to plan, but exhaustion and pain made everything fuzzy. Through the one-way mirror, he could hear voices in the next room. Dispose of the documents properly. Can't have this getting out. Orders came from way up the chain. Marcus's blood went cold. Orders from up the chain. This wasn't three racist cops having a bad night. This was organized. Planned. Someone had told them to do this. But who? And why? The answer hit him like a freight train. The briefing materials Director Hawkins had given him weren't just transition documents. They contained active case files. Investigations into corruption, organized crime, terrorism. Cases that powerful people might kill to keep buried. One file in particular flashed through his memory. Operation Clean Sweep. A massive investigation into police corruption that stretched from local precincts all the way to federal agencies. Marcus had been one of the lead investigators before his promotion, and the case was scheduled to go public next month. Unless the new FBI director decided to bury it. Marcus closed his eyes as the pieces clicked together. Someone hadn't just wanted him arrested. They'd wanted him discredited, humiliated, destroyed. A disgraced FBI director couldn't expose corruption. A man in jail for breaking and entering couldn't testify before Congress. This wasn't about stopping one black man from taking power. This was about stopping Operation Clean Sweep from seeing daylight. The door slammed open. Bradley strutted in carrying a file folder thick as a phone book. Good news, Mr. Williams, he said, settling into the chair across from Marcus. We've been doing some research on you. He opened the folder with theatrical flair. Inside were dozens of photographs, surveillance photos of Marcus going about his daily life. Getting coffee, dropping his kids at school, kissing his wife goodbye. Marcus's stomach turned to ice. How long have you been watching me? Weeks, Bradley said casually. Amazing what you can learn about a person when you really pay attention. For instance, he pulled out a photo of Marcus helping Mrs. Henderson with her groceries. This is from last Tuesday. You were casing the neighborhood, weren't you? Learning the routine. Planning your break-ins. I was being a good neighbor. Sure you were. Bradley pulled out another photo. Marcus jogging through the neighborhood at dawn. And this? 6 a.m. reconnaissance. Very professional. Every innocent moment of Marcus's life was being twisted into evidence of criminal intent. His morning jogs became surveillance. His friendly waves to neighbors became gathering intelligence. His help with Mrs. Henderson's garage became testing security measures. You're insane, Marcus whispered. Am I? Let's see what a jury thinks. Bradley spread the photos across the table like playing cards. Wealthy black man in a white neighborhood. Suspicious behavior for weeks. Caught red-handed breaking into someone's property. Carrying fake FBI credentials to throw off suspicion. The narrative was perfect. Airtight. Believable. And completely false. "Who's paying you?" Marcus asked quietly. Bradley's smile never wavered, but something flickered in his eyes. "I don't know what you mean. Someone's paying you to destroy me. Someone who doesn't want me to become FBI director." "Who is it?" "You're paranoid," Bradley said, but his hand moved unconsciously to his jacket pocket, where the outline of an expensive phone was visible. Marcus had spent 2 decades reading body language, catching lies, seeing what people tried to hide. Bradley was nervous now, sweating despite the cold room. "How much did they pay you?" Marcus pressed. "What's my destruction worth? 100,000? More." Bradley stood up so fast his chair crashed to the floor. "You're done talking. Did they tell you about Operation Clean Sweep?" Marcus continued, sensing he'd hit a nerve. "Did they explain what I know? What cases I've been working on?" Bradley's face went white as paper. Marcus leaned forward as far as his handcuffs would allow. "When this comes out, and it will come out, you'll be the one in handcuffs. You'll be the one whose life gets destroyed. Did they promise to protect you? Because I guarantee you, the moment this goes sideways, you'll be thrown under the bus so fast." Bradley's fist connected with Marcus's jaw like a hammer blow. Stars exploded across his vision. Blood filled his mouth. "I said you're done talking," Bradley snarled. But Marcus smiled through the blood. Because Bradley's reaction had confirmed everything. This was bigger than 3 corrupt cops. This was a conspiracy that reached high enough to know about Operation Clean Sweep, high enough to have access to FBI transition schedules, high enough to orchestrate the destruction of an FBI director before he could take office. The question was, how high did it go? Bradley stormed out, leaving Marcus alone with his swollen face and his spinning mind. Through the wall, he could hear a phone conversation. "He knows about Clean Sweep." "Yes, sir, I understand. Make it look like suicide." Marcus's blood turned to liquid nitrogen. They weren't just planning to frame him anymore. They were planning to kill him. And make it look like the disgraced FBI director-elect had taken his own life rather than face the shame of his crimes. The cell phone in Bradley's pocket rang. Marcus heard him answer. "Yes, sir. Tonight. I understand. No witnesses." Marcus tested his handcuffs. Solid steel, professionally applied. The table was bolted to the floor. The door was locked from the outside. He was trapped. And somewhere in the building, 3 corrupt cops were planning his murder. Outside, his wife and children were probably home by now, wondering where he was. Sarah would be worried when he didn't answer his phone. She might even call the FBI to check if he'd been called in for an emergency. But the FBI didn't know where he was. Nobody did. He was about to disappear into the system. Another black man who died in custody under suspicious circumstances. Unless he could figure out a way to survive the next few hours. Marcus closed his eyes and began to pray. Not to God, but to every skill he'd learned in 22 years of federal law enforcement. Because tonight, he wasn't just fighting for his career or his reputation. He was fighting for his life. Blood. It dripped from Marcus's split knuckles onto the concrete floor of the jail cell. Not his own blood this time, Officer Johnson's. The young cop lay unconscious against the cell bars, his nose clearly broken, his keys in Marcus's trembling hand. "Help! Help!" Johnson's voice had been cut short by Marcus's desperate tackle 20 minutes ago. Now the jail was silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights and Marcus's ragged breathing. The plan had been simple. Stage a fake suicide, claim Marcus hung himself with his bedsheets from guilt and shame. Johnson had come in alone to check on the prisoner, with a bedsheet and clear instructions to make it look convincing. He hadn't expected the FBI director-elect to fight back. Marcus's hand shook as he turned the key in his cell door. Freedom was 3 feet away. But freedom meant nothing if he couldn't prove his innocence. And he couldn't prove his innocence if he was running like a fugitive. The hallway stretched in both directions, left toward the exit, right toward the booking room where his personal effects were stored, including his real FBI credentials, his phone, and the classified documents that someone had tried so hard to destroy. Marcus turned right. The booking room door was locked, but Johnson's keys opened it easily. Inside, Marcus found his belongings in a plastic bag marked Williams. Marcus, evidence. His hands trembled as he pulled out his FBI badge, his official credentials, his phone. 17 missed calls from his wife. 12 voicemails. The most recent text message made his heart stop. Marcus, where are you? 2 men in suits came to the house asking for you. They said they were FBI, but their badges looked wrong. I took the kids to Mom's. Call me. I'm scared. They'd gone after his family. Whatever this was about, whoever was behind it, they weren't just trying to destroy Marcus. They were willing to threaten Sarah and the kids to keep their secrets buried. Marcus's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello, Director Williams. The voice was smooth, educated, with just a hint of a southern accent. I was hoping we could talk. Who is this? Someone who's been watching your situation with great interest. I believe you're in a jail cell right now, having just assaulted a police officer. That's going to be hard to explain to the media tomorrow. Marcus felt ice in his veins. You're behind this. I'm behind solving problems, Director. And right now, you're a very big problem. Because of Operation Clean Sweep. Silence on the line. Then, you're a smart man. That's what makes this so unfortunate. Who are you? Someone who spent 30 years building something important. Something that keeps this country safe. Operation Clean Sweep would destroy that work. Destroy good people who've sacrificed everything for national security. Marcus pulled up the classified files on his phone, scrolling through Operation Clean Sweep's evidence list. Names jumped out at him: police chiefs, federal judges, senators, even high-ranking FBI officials. All connected to a network of corruption that stretched back decades. You're one of them, Marcus realized. One of the names in the file. I'm someone who understands that sometimes the law has to be flexible. Sometimes good people have to do bad things to protect something greater. Your investigation threatens to expose operations that have prevented terrorist attacks, stopped drug cartels, eliminated threats to national security. By breaking the law. By doing what was necessary. The voice hardened. And by eliminating obstacles. Marcus heard footsteps in the hallway, heavy boots, multiple people. Bradley's voice echoed off the walls. Johnson? Johnson, where the hell are you? They're coming for you right now, the voice on the phone said calmly. 3 officers, all armed. All with orders to shoot an escaping prisoner who assaulted a guard. Very tragic. Very final. People will ask questions. What people? A disgraced FBI director who was arrested for breaking and entering? Who attacked police officers? Who died trying to escape custody? The only questions will be about how we missed the warning signs of his mental breakdown. The footsteps were getting closer. Marcus grabbed his FBI credentials, his badge, and the classified documents. The emergency exit was at the end of the hall, but he'd have to pass the officers to reach it. Last chance, Director, the voice said. Walk away. Resign your position. Claim health problems, family issues, whatever you want. Operation Clean Sweep gets buried, you get to live, your family stays safe. Everyone wins. Except the victims of all the crimes you've covered up. Acceptable losses. Marcus ended the call and ran. The hallway erupted with shouts as Bradley spotted him. There. He's got Johnson's keys. Gunshots exploded behind Marcus as he sprinted toward the exit. Bullets sparked off the concrete walls. The emergency door was chained shut. Fire code violations that would never be reported because dead men don't file complaints. Marcus spun around. Bradley, Martinez, and a third officer he didn't recognize were advancing with guns drawn. Drop the documents, Bradley shouted. Drop them and put your hands up. Instead, Marcus held up his FBI badge. I'm Director Marcus Williams, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Stand down. Bradley laughed. Still playing pretend? Those are fake. Remember? Call FBI headquarters. Deputy Director Chun will verify. At 2 a.m.? Martinez sneered. Right? But the third officer, older, maybe 50, lowered his weapon slightly. Wait, let me see that badge. Don't be stupid, Phillips, Bradley snapped. It's fake. We verified it. Officer Phillips stepped closer, studying Marcus's credentials under the hallway lights. His face went pale. These aren't fake. What? The holographic seals, the magnetic strips, the microprinting. These are real federal credentials. Phillips looked up at Marcus with dawning horror. You're really FBI. Shut up, Phillips. Bradley's gun swung toward his fellow officer. He's a criminal. We have our orders. Orders from who? Phillips demanded. Who told us to arrest an FBI director? The pieces were falling into place for Phillips, but too slowly. Bradley's finger was tightening on the trigger, his weapon moving back toward Marcus. You want to know who gave the orders? Marcus said, pulling out his phone. The same person who just called me. The same person who's been running Operation Clean Sweep's cover-up. He hit redial. The phone rang once before the familiar southern voice answered. I told you, Director. Walk away. Tell them, Marcus said, holding the phone so all three officers could hear. Tell them who you are. Silence. Deputy Director Hawkins? Phillips whispered, recognizing the voice. Ma'am, is that you? More silence. Then, Officer Phillips. I'm disappointed in you. Patricia Hawkins, the outgoing FBI director who had personally handed Marcus his appointment letter just hours ago, who had smiled and congratulated him, who had been running Operation Clean Sweep's cover-up from inside the bureau itself. You were supposed to retire gracefully, Marcus said into the phone. Hand over power, disappear quietly. Why blow everything up like this? Because Operation Clean Sweep would have destroyed everything I spent 30 years building. Every asset, every operation, every necessary compromise. You would have torn it all down in the name of justice. Phillips lowered his weapon completely. Ma'am, you ordered us to arrest an FBI director? To stage his suicide. I ordered you to protect national security by any means necessary. Bradley kept his gun trained on Marcus, but his confidence was cracking. She promised us protection. Promotions. She said. She lied, Marcus said quietly, just like she's been lying about everything else. Check your phones, officers. I guarantee you'll find electronic deposits in your bank accounts from shell companies. Payments for services rendered. Evidence of bribery that will destroy your careers the moment this goes public. All three officers pulled out their phones. Marcus watched their faces change as they saw the payments. Digital evidence of their corruption, created automatically by the same system that was supposed to protect them. You recorded everything, Phillips whispered. Every payment, every conversation, every illegal order. Insurance policy. Hawkins's voice crackled through the phone speaker. Can't have loose ends. Bradley's gun hand began to shake. You set us up. You were always planning to destroy us. I was planning to clean up a mess. Unfortunately, you've all become part of that mess. Marcus saw his chance. While the officers were staring at their phones in shock, he lunged for the emergency exit chain. The metal links were old, corroded. They snapped under his weight. Cold night air hit his face as he burst through the door into the parking lot. Behind him, he could hear chaos. Shouting, accusations, the sounds of Bradley and Phillips fighting over who was going to take the fall. Marcus's car was still in the impound lot, but his FBI credentials got him past the fence. His hands shook as he started the engine and pulled out his phone. Sarah? Marcus? Oh God. Where have you been? These men came to the house. Are you and the kids safe? We're at Mom's. But Marcus, what's happening? They're saying on the news that you were arrested for. The news? Marcus's stomach dropped. What are they saying? That the newly appointed FBI director was arrested for breaking and entering. That there are questions about your mental stability. That your appointment might be revoked. Of course, Hawkins had leaked the story to destroy him even if the frame-up failed. By morning, Every newspaper and TV station in the country would be running the story of the disgraced FBI director. Sarah, listen to me carefully. Don't trust anyone who claims to be FBI unless you can verify their identity through official channels. Don't go home. Don't go anywhere predictable. Marcus, you're scaring me. This goes all the way to the top. The outgoing director is behind everything. She's been running a corruption network for decades, and she tried to kill me to stop Operation Clean Sweep from exposing it. Marcus pulled into the FBI headquarters parking garage. At 3 a.m., the building was nearly empty, but Marcus's credentials still got him through security. The guards looked surprised to see him, probably because the news was already reporting his arrest, but they didn't try to stop him. The elevator ride to the 7th floor felt like it took forever. Deputy Director Chun was waiting for him in his new office, the office that was supposed to be his. She looked exhausted, like she'd been up all night. Marcus, thank God you're alive. You know, I've been monitoring everything. Hawkins tried to have me arrested too, but I saw it coming. Chun held up a tablet showing bank records, phone transcripts, surveillance footage. Operation Clean Sweep was more extensive than we thought. The corruption network includes judges, senators, police chiefs across 12 states, and at least 6 high-ranking FBI officials, including Hawkins. Hawkins was the mastermind. She's been selling information, burying investigations, and eliminating threats for 30 years. Your appointment threatened everything because you were one of the few people she couldn't control. Marcus sank into his chair finally, and stared at the evidence. Hundreds of crimes, thousands of victims, decades of corruption, all protected by the very people sworn to uphold justice. What happens now? Chun smiled grimly. Now we do our jobs. Operation Clean Sweep goes public in 6 hours. Full congressional hearing next week. And Director Marcus Williams, the real Director Williams, gets to clean house. Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Saw the real news report. FBI announces corruption investigation led by new Director Williams. Come home, hero. Kids want to celebrate. The real news report. Chun had gotten ahead of the story, released the truth before Hawkins's lies could take hold. She's in custody? Marcus asked. She disappeared an hour ago, but she left behind enough evidence to convict half of Washington. Chun paused. The officers who arrested you are in federal custody, by the way. They're talking, hoping for deals. Marcus nodded, too exhausted to feel satisfaction. The system worked. Barely. And only because you survived long enough to expose the truth. Chun stood to leave. Get some rest, Director. Tomorrow the real work begins. As she left, Marcus looked out his office window at the sunrise painting the sky pink and gold. Somewhere out there, Patricia Hawkins was running, knowing her 30-year empire of corruption was crumbling. Somewhere else, his family was safe and proud and waiting for him to come home. But here, in this office, sat a man who had nearly died for the truth. A man who had learned that sometimes the biggest criminals wear badges. A man who had become FBI director not through politics or connections, but by surviving the night and refusing to be silenced. Marcus picked up his phone and dialed. Sarah? I'm coming home. Is it over? Marcus looked at the stack of Operation Clean Sweep files on his desk. Hundreds of cases that would need investigation. Thousands of victims who deserve justice. No, he said softly. It's just beginning. 6 months later. The congressional hearing room was packed as Marcus Williams, FBI director, finished his testimony about Operation Clean Sweep. 37 convictions so far, including 2 senators, 4 judges, and dozens of law enforcement officials. Patricia Hawkins had been captured in Mexico and was awaiting trial for treason, conspiracy, and murder. Officers Bradley, Martinez, and Johnson were serving federal prison sentences. Officer Phillips had cooperated with investigators and received a reduced sentence for his testimony. In the gallery, Marcus could see his wife and children watching with pride as their husband and father, the man who had nearly been murdered for the truth, helped clean up the system he'd sworn to protect. Justice was slow. Justice was complicated. Justice was sometimes brutal. But justice, Marcus had learned, was always worth fighting for. Even when the fight nearly killed you, the end